Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember you saying that. I remember that. That- Scotty, I know the government's selling off our assets. I just don't think it's really. I don't think it's really right for the show. I do want to do a bit on tyres. That's all I'm saying. All right, man. I know. All right, I'll mention 5G and how it's not good for us. Yep. All right. Yep. I got you. Chem. All right. All right. Chemtrails. No. No, not today. No. No, you're right today, Ben. All right, bro. All right. Hi, I'm Sammy, and this is Brothers on a Budget. And today we're going to talk about your tyres. Tyres come in all different shapes and sizes, and only 50% of that statement is true. But they do come in different patterns and sizes. And what's the difference between a directional tread pattern and an asymmetrical tread pattern, or a unidirectional or a conventional tread pattern? Now, the difference between a directional tread pattern, that's generally when the pattern of the tyre is designed and directed in a particular way. And you'll notice on a directional tread pattern, if you look on the sidewall, a quick way to tell, if you can't tell by the tread pattern, is on the side will generally have a left and a right, and that you should see that side to the outside. So on the right hand side of the vehicle you should see right and the arrow directing that way. So it was originally designed for wet weather and water dispersion, but I think as technology gets on, we're finding that the asymmetrical tread pattern is kind of the way to go, being able to divide the tyre into two different segments, one for performance and one for wet weather or water dispersion. So we're getting very technical with tyres these days, or manufacturers are, and we're finding that asymmetrical tyres, I suppose, are the way to go. All the big brands like Pirelli, Michelin and Continental, Bridgestone are running the asymmetrical tread patterns still in their top ranges. So that's the difference. A conventional tyre is one that you can put any which way, and generally is something that you'll find on your Corollas, Golfs or Camrys, just your general get to and from work cars. But anything high performance, anything for performance based, you're generally going to find a asymmetrical tread pattern on that. The only downside with that is you can only have it on one way. So if you've got staggered wheels and asymmetrical tyres, you're pretty much stuck with having them the way they are till they wear out. So in regards to tyre maintenance, my best tip would be your tyre pressures and always keeping an eye on your tyres. Now, rotations and balances are good, but in this day and age with modern cars choosing a staggered option, more and more so, it is a hard task to try and rotate and balance tyres. Now, if you do have a car with a staggered option, you just have to live with it. Don't be too concerned. Make sure you check your wheel alignment as often as you check, as you would have done your rotations. So that's every 5 to 10,000 kilometres, or every 3 to 6 months, depending on how much you drive. I do recommend at least getting your wheel alignments done once or twice a year if you're a regular driver. I'm going to show you how to read a tyre size first of all, and then I'll show you what it all means. So these numbers here is what you look for when you're looking for a tyre size. In this case, it's a 225/40 R18. It's a Y rated and it's an XL, which is extra load. Now, what does a 225/40 R18 actually represent? Let me show you. Okay, so the 225, first of all, is counted in millimetres. So we talk 225 millimetres is actually your section width. So if you were to take a tape measure from the furthest point to the furthest point, it should technically give you about 225 millimetres. Now the 40 is 40%. It's general misconception that it's 40 millimeters or anything like that. It's actually 40%. So if you were to hypothetically take 40% of 225, and let's say that's about 40% there, then that should make up technically your sidewall height, with of course your bead taken into consideration. So you've got about 40%, and that's about right. So that's how you work that out, and the 18 is obviously your inches in diameter. Alright, so that's what the 225 is millimeters in section width. The 40 is a percent of the millimeters in the section width, makes up your sidewall height. And last is your 18, which is inches. Now, commonly asked question is one of tyre pressures. It's always probably safest to go with your manufacturer's specification, which is usually found either on your tyre placard, which is on the side of the door, your glove box, or in your boot, depending on your manufacturer. Now, for Australian conditions and Australian roads, I know here in Sydney we like to run it a little bit harder due to the roads, so I run about 34 in the rear of this and 36 in the front, but that's neither here nor there. 32 to 38 is a good average for Sydney roads on a small to medium car. But look, always the safest bet, as I said, is to refer to your manufacturing specifications. These here are what you call your tread wear indicators, or tread depth indicators. You'll usually see a marking of TDI or TWI on the side of the tyre. That indicates that it's a tread wear indicator. You can see this one's just a little bit off, but it's still good. Still plenty of tyre on that one, but that's how you gauge your tread depth. Now, when buying a tyre, it's always my recommendation to buy the absolute best you can afford. Depending on what sort of driving you do, will depend on what type of tyre you should buy, whether you're into performance, handling, or touring and longevity. But make sure you always stick to a reputable brand, and yeah, you should be able to have some confidence in the tyre. Remember, it's the only thing between you and the road at the end of the day, as they always say. So make sure you keep an eye on your tread wear indicators, making sure to check all the way from the inside of the tyre to the outside of the tyre. Turn the wheel on the front and maybe even squat down and have a good look as if you're doing a push-up on the rears if you want to. Might be good exercise, eh? How to check the rear tyres, do some push-ups. Now this is actually a good tyre. It's a Michelin Energy XM2, so it's a good brand. But if you move it over, we'll have a look here. That's your date marking on any tyre. There should be a date marking. So that's the 24th week of 2012. So at this point, that's about 7 years old. So we do want to get rid of this. We have actually got this booked in for Tuesday to replace it with 4 brand new tyres. And this is what I was talking about, ozone cracking. That's just due to old age. The tyre just loses its nutrients and it starts becoming hard, and if you drive over rough surfaces, as opposed to it digging in, it just chips it away, which is what it's done. But as I said, we've got this booked in for 2 days to get them all replaced.